Walker, tell me about yourself. How long have you been a Mavericks fan?
Gosh, pretty much since high school. I've been a season ticket holder for 9 years. Um, Before then, we'd go to games fairly regularly since the early 2000s. In fact, an unusual timing when I was in high school, I went to a small school. We had a game before the a Mavericks game, and someone just sent me a team picture we had on the floor of the old Reunion Arena. So, been a Mavs fan for a long time.
Okay, so take me to before we talk about the big game last night, take me to what your heart and mind felt when you heard the news that Luka was no longer a Maverick.
I think like so many fans, my first thought was this isn't real. Sure, it's Saturday night at 11 o'clock. This has to be fake. And then as I saw it being reported by reliable news sources, it was just shock and disbelief. Um, and I guess you kind of have the stages of grief of anger and disbelief and it hits me like all fans just differently. Here we are a week and a half later and we're still talking about it. We still feel it. So it's different than any other sports story that I can remember in a long, long time.
So tell me about your decision. You're a season ticket holder, so you were going to go to last night's game all along. And was your plan always to try to send a message, or did this come sort of last minute? Or what was your thinking going into last night?
No, I definitely wanted to send the message that many Mavs fans feel the frustration with management and with the front office, with management and ownership. But to do it in a way that's not obscene, not profane. And just, I thought fire Nico, that's certainly a sentiment that's been floating around town. And I thought that would be just kind of a short, concise, to the point, what we all feel to express our frustration.
So what happened? Describe what happened last night.
Well, it began with the karaoke cam where they, pan to the crowd and excuse me, and I wanted to get on that. I planned to do what I was going to do. So I started, doing the singing. They get the little clapping fold up papers. And so a lot of people will use that as a microphone. So I did that. And we're in a section of seats where people frequently get on the Jumbotron. And so when I saw it was to me, I went from singing Whitney Houston to mouthing Fire Nico. And then I thought that the arena staff might do something at that point, but they didn't. And so that was in the third quarter. And the fourth quarter, we got our signs out and we waited until the Kings were shooting free throws on our end. We didn't want to bother the Mavericks. We didn't want to be a disruption when they were shooting free throws. So during that time, I think it may have even been between shots. That's where we unrolled the posters and held them up.
And how did you get the posters in?
We had them rolled up. They checked on the way in to see what the messages said. And in fact, they did that on Saturday. They were checking and they wouldn't let you bring in anything that had the slightest negative connotation towards Nico or the organization. So made some very generic posters that said "Go Mavericks," and I think the other one said "PJ number 25." And then once we got them in, we made a few edits to the back of them.
Got it. That's how you did it. You brought them in, and then you brought a marker in as well to make the changes you wanted to make. Understand. Creative there. Okay, so you hold the sign up, and how quickly was it that someone came to your seat?
Gosh, I would say we had them maybe not very long at all, maybe 30 seconds, maybe a minute, probably 30 seconds. And then the ushers came by and said, you need to take those down. And we were cooperative. We weren't trying to make a scene. So we did. And as you can see from the video, we give them our signs. They confiscated them and we went along with that. And we thought that was it. That was going to be the end of it. They took the signs and that was going to be the end of the story. But then about 5 minutes later, security came and said, you need to get up and you need to head up the stairs. You need to come with us right now. And we obviously knew why. And we knew that they weren't going to be, they weren't going to be up for negotiations. So again, we're not trying to create a scene. We expressed our sentiment. Didn't want to get into a fight with security. And so we, peacefully went up the stairs and we were escorted to the exits.
Did they tell you not to come back?
They didn't. So my tickets are still in the app. Hopefully they'll work tomorrow for the next game.
Tell me about, your thinking about how the Mavericks handled that. Do you feel like you understand that they would say this is against our policy? Do you feel like they took it further than they needed to? What is your opinion of how they handled it?
I think they handled it about as poorly as they can. If they're going to make a trade and make a move, the gravity of trading Luka, who, we all know what he meant to this, not just franchise, but meant to the city. And surely Nico and Dumont and the ownership knew the blowback that was going to happen. If you're going to do that, then you need to own your decision and face the criticism. And that is going to include a little bit of criticism in your own building. Now, the signs we made, I understand if it was obscene comments, profanity, I get that. But a simple fire Nico, I thought that was, let fans have their say. Let it get them out of their system. And we obviously were doing that because we're passionate. We care about the team. We put our time, our money, our emotions into it. So when they bought the team, that's what they bought. That's what they want. That's what Mark Cuban developed over all these years. So I think that part was handled poorly, but then I think they took it to the next level of handling it poorly when they kicked us out. They could have just taken the signs, wouldn't have been happy about that, but left it at that. But no, they took the extra step to, actually kick us out of the building. I think that went way too far. Again, we weren't making a scene. We weren't drunk and obnoxious and using profanity. We just stood up and held the sign. So I think the response was not, I think the response was not proportional to the action.
Did the security tell you anything as they were walking you out? Like, did they say you violated certain things, or did they just say, we're telling you have to leave?
When they first got us, they said, you need to come with us. And again, we knew what was happening. And then they took us to the nearest exit. And once we were out of the door, I did want to ask them, we were outside the building, but the door was still open. And I asked them, why are you doing this? And they kind of laughed. And they said, you violated NBA policy. And I said, well, what policy was that? And the security guard was just dumbfounded that I would ask something like that. And he kind of laughed. And I, again, kind of repeated, well, what policy was it? And he was getting upset. At that point, I was already out of the building. It wasn't going anywhere. So I just, didn't push the issue and I left. But that's the sole explanation that we got. And that was, again, when we were outside of the building.
What would make this better, you think? You alluded to this earlier, sort of like let the fans get it out of their system. Do you think that if they would allow sort of a collective, time where fans are allowed to just sort of like air their grievances, be that at a game or pregame or whatever, do you think that would help? Or I guess what I'm asking is, do you think that would help and maybe make us all feel a little better so this doesn't just keep festering?
I think if they allowed the fans to express their feelings, I think that would help. To acknowledge what we're going through. They almost don't seem to either acknowledge or appreciate it. They've given lip service that they understood the gravity of it, but I don't think they do. I don't think they understand the impact that this has had on the community. I think they're understanding it now, but I don't think they did. So I think acknowledging that and giving fans an out, let us express our frustration. I think that would help.
Just two more questions for you. Would you change anything looking back today on what happened? Is there anything you would do differently?
No.
You're proud of what you did?
I I'm proud of what I did, and I'm amazed how many folks have reached out and said, thank you for doing that. We all feel the same way. You express what we're all thinking.
So tell me about moving forward. You're still going to go to the game tomorrow night,
I plan on it.
assuming the tickets work, right?
Yes.
So will you continue to try to get on the jumbotron or make a sign? Will you continue this?
No, I think I've made my point. I'm not generally the guy who's trying to get on the jumbotron or get the attention or wear something crazy. Um, I just want to go there and cheer for the team and enjoy a good basketball game and enjoy the arena experience. I think I made my point. If they haven't gotten the message by now, they never will.
Tell me about, because I think a lot of fans might be struggling with this idea. This is a problem not with AD, not with Max Christie, not with the players. This is a problem that you feel towards ownership. So you still want to cheer for the Mavericks. It's more that you want management and ownership, leadership in this organization to know that you're not happy. Is that right?
Absolutely. I still support the Mavericks, still support the players, the team. They obviously had nothing to do with this, and they're still going out there and giving it their all. So, absolutely support the team. We didn't boo. I won't boo. I'm going to still, cheer for them and applaud and scream and holler for the team when they do well. And, when they're not going things aren't going so well, we'll still support them. That's what fans do.
And then tell me about when Luka comes in April. What's that going to be like for you and you feel like your fellow season ticket holders?
I've thought about that over the last week, and I'm not sure what that's going to be like. It's going to definitely be mixed emotions. It's going to be great seeing him. It's going to obviously sting seeing him in a Lakers uniform, but it's definitely going to be some mixed emotions for sure.
Do you think you might revisit some of what we felt yesterday and tried to display, or are you past it?
Again, I think I made my point. Will it inspire others? Who knows? There may be some fire Nico chants in the crowd that day. So whether or not I participate in those, who knows? But
Time will tell.
time will tell.